Hi, this is Steve with OS Nexus, and in this video we're going to go through the process of how to go about copying block devices from a third-party SAN to QuantaStor. This is a real common challenge where you've got a older third-party SAN and you're looking to find a way to copy those block devices, often called LUNs, from that older third-party array to QuantaStor so that you can start to use that storage from the old system onto your new QuantaStor system. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can do that, and we're going to go through all those different ways today in this video. And so we'll start off with just sort of a quick run through of all the different techniques that we're going to run through today. Then we'll go through a demo of how to go about doing that, and then we'll wrap up. So to begin with, the most basic way to go and copy a LUN from a third-party SAN to QuantaStor is to first attach to that device from your third-party SAN and copy it into a pool within the QuantaStor system. And the block device in QuantaStor, all block devices are called storage volumes. So your LUN in the third-party SAN in terminology for QuantaStor is called a storage volume. In this diagram here, we have a software adapter, and you would configure one of these to go connect up to your third-party SAN over iSCSI or NVMeoF over Fabrics. And we'll dive into that at the demo stage on how to go about setting up a software adapter. If your third-party SAN is fiber channel based, then you can either direct connect to it or connect your QuantaStor system to your fiber channel switch and get access to the storage there. There's no special configuration required on the QuantaStor side to go and attach to your fiber channel storage. Once you have a LUN copied into your QuantaStor system, you can also copy it out. So you can use QuantaStor as a data migration appliance where you copy LUNs to QuantaStor, transport QuantaStor on a mobile storage system to another site, and then copy it from QuantaStor to either another QuantaStor or another third-party SAN. So a great use case here as a data migration appliance. You can also copy direct from a third-party SAN to another third-party SAN. So if you have an old third-party SAN that's maybe fiber channel based and you're moving to one that is NVMeoF over Fabrics based or iSCSI based, you can use a software adapter inside of QuantaStor to connect to the storage system on the left, connect to the storage system on the right, and copy the data directly through. What we're showing in here with this PD, we call it a physical disk. This is just saying the LUN has shown up to QuantaStor as the base system. And so once that device arrives, we call it a physical disk. And you can just copy from physical disk to physical disk. And so in that process, it's just really just copying from one LUN in the third-party SAN on the left to another LUN on the third-party SAN on the right. The thing to keep in mind is that you have to have at least as big of a LUN on the right as you do on the left. So if you have a 100 gigabyte LUN, the target LUN has to be at least 100 gigabytes and so on. This next way of copying block devices is to actually convert it from a block device to an image file. And this is really helpful when you're trying to do a P2V, like a conversion of a SAN that's all hardware, and you're trying to get that all the LUNs from a given SAN turned into files. And this puts it into a standard IMG image format. It's just a raw device. It's taking every block from start to finish of the LUN and putting that into a file. You could then use some various conversion tools to turn that into a VHD file or a QCOW file, or a VMDK, lots of different ways you can convert the image file into a number of different hypervisor formats. But what this is showing here is that the LUN that we've attached to it shows up as a physical disk, and then we've got a pool of storage that we've created and a backup folder in there, and now we're just copying that PD into this vol image file. Really handy when you're trying to do some conversions or move your LUNs into something logical within QuantaStor, where in this case it's an actual file. This is another variant of what we just saw, where you can go and copy this LUN into QuantaStor as a file. But what's really cool here is that this backups is folder is actually a bucket in either Azure or AWS or the IBM Cloud Object Storage. You can map that locally as what we call a cloud container. It's a way of getting a NAS gateway to object storage. And then when you copy the LUN into the system, what it's really doing is it's copying it up into the cloud. So this is a great way of going and doing a backup of your SAN using QuantaStor as a way to go and get your LUNs into the cloud as files. Keep in mind, in all of these examples, it's just doing a block for block copy of the LUN. So you want to make sure that the LUN is not in use while you're doing the copy. One way that you can do that is to make a snapshot of the LUN and assign the LUN snapshot to the QuantaStor system. That way you're copying from a snapshot to the destination and it's a frozen point-in-time image. If you are writing to the LUN while QuantaStor is doing the copy, then the copy is going to be inconsistent. So you don't want to do that. You either want to take a maintenance window to copy the LUN, or you want to take a snapshot and copy from the LUN snapshot. So when you log into your QuantaStor system, I've got 4 QuantaStor systems set up here. This first box, 70, is the one that we're going to focus on. If you go to the physical disks, you can see all of the devices that are attached to QuantaStor 70. And here I've got a bunch of 10 gigabyte devices and a couple of 104 gigabyte devices. These two devices where it says DM-UUID-multipath, those are actually iSCSI connected from another SAN. And that other SAN is actually another QuantaStor box, which is this box here that's marked as QuantaStor 73. So we've logged, 70 is logging into 73 to go attach to a couple devices. So the way you do that in QuantaStor is through what we call a software adapter. So you can have your QuantaStor box connect to your third-party SAN by just choosing the system that you want to connect to your third-party SAN in the controllers and enclosures section. Go to software adapters and then just click add adapter here. And this is going to let you connect to your third-party SAN either over iSCSI, NVMe over Fabrics TCP, or NVMe over Fabrics RDMA. So you'd put in the IP address here of the box you want to connect to, click OK, and it's going to show you the adapter with the devices that it has discovered. Once that shows up, you can then just log in to these using target login and attach to all the devices that you want to copy. And then those devices, these two devices, now show up to this box, QuantaStor 70, as physical disks. And that's these two physical disks right here that we have connected to. So that's how easy it is to go connect up to your third-party SAN. Again, if it's fiber channel based, you don't need to do anything special. You just need to configure your fabric so that the QuantaStor system has fiber channel ports that are logging into your fiber channel switch and connecting up to your fiber channel SAN. So most of that's all going to be handled inside of the zoning of your switch and making sure that your fiber channel third-party SAN is allowing access to the QuantaStor worldwide port names. This system doesn't have fiber channel adapters in it, but if you're looking to get the fiber channel worldwide names of the initiators and target ports inside of your QuantaStor system itself, you'd find all that information right here. And this is also where you would go and toggle a given fiber port inside of a QuantaStor system into target mode or initiator mode. When you're connecting to your third-party SAN, remember that those fiber channel ports need to be in initiator mode to go and initiate a connection to that third-party SAN's target devices. And so let's dive in and actually go do some copy operations. So the first thing you'll want to do is you can go in here and just right-click and say copy disk, or you can go up here and choose it from the ribbon bar, just click copy, and choose the system that has the devices attached to it. Here we're going to copy from this disk to another disk. So I want to make sure our source and destination are different. And I can see here from the device identifier that these are two separate devices. You want to make sure that the destination and the source are equal or greater in size. And now we can just say copy. If we click OK, this is going to start a task to start the copy process. So I'm going to clear out the tasks first, and then I'm going to click OK, and this is going to go do our first copy. This is going to copy 10 gigabytes of data, so it's going to take a minute or two for that to finish. You can see the progress of the copy going. If you want to cancel the copy partway through, you can just right-click and say Cancel Task, and that's going to cancel the whole copy operation. It will have completed however much it's completed, but you can cancel them midway. I'm going to pause the video here. Okay, the copy is completed. So let's go through the next technique. So I'm going to go back here and bring up the copy disk dialog again. And this time, instead of copying it straight through from an iSCSI LUN to another iSCSI LUN, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it into a storage volume. And we have to tell it which pool we want to copy it into, and then we can name it whatever we want. So we can call this volume 1. And we just click OK, and it works exactly the same way. This tells us the amount of free space in the pool. We want to keep an eye on that because if it doesn't have enough space for the physical disk to fully copy in, then you'll get an error partway through. In fact, it'll give you an error saying there's not enough space ahead of time. It'll check. The next thing that you can do is you can copy from that physical disk device, from the third-party SAN, that LUN, into a network share. And before I was mentioning this is that image file. So since it's copying into a file, we have to give it a name for that file. We can call this volume1.image like that, and it will go and copy from this block device into this file inside of this folder called backups. So in QuantaStor, all of your network shares, your folders that are accessible over NFS and SMB, those are referred to as network shares. That's really all there is to copying from a third-party SAN into an image file. Really handy if you're trying to take something physical, turn it into something virtual. So it's really great for a P2V type conversion. The next one is the cloud container technique. And here I've got a cloud container that is called vol backups. This one's inside of a Microsoft Azure Blob. And again, you have to give it a name. We could just call this like volume1.image, volume123. We can call it whatever we want. And we just click OK, and it's going to go and copy from this physical disk up into the cloud and put it inside of this bucket called vol backups as an object called volume123.img, so that you can copy to the cloud. You want to go to the Cloud Integration tab, and then go to this first section, Cloud Storage Containers, and you'll see all the standard providers, IBM Cloud, Amazon, Microsoft Azure. What you'll do in this section is go here and say Add Credentials, and you'll choose the provider that you want to add credentials for, put in the username and password for that, or the access key, secret key combination for the account that you want to go use to copy to your buckets. And then once you have credentials added, you can then add a cloud container. This can be a cloud container, can be a bucket that you've already created, or you can create a brand new cloud container and it will create the bucket for you at your cloud provider dynamically. And then once you've done that, and I've already done that here, I've got this one vol backups, and so then you can start to use the copy utility, and the cloud container will appear here, and you just give it a name for the file that you want at the destination, and it will go and copy that over. Last, you can copy from a storage volume to another type of storage media. So if you're trying to convert a QuantaStor storage volume into a file, you could go and copy from a storage volume to a network share or a cloud container. Alternatively, you could copy a storage volume to a physical disk, which could be a LUN attached from another third-party SAN or another QuantaStor box. So basically this physical disk copy, this block device copy features really powerful tool for moving block devices around in your environment. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please write us at info@osnexus.com. Thanks.